Well, hello, everyone,
Hi.
aka Megan and her boyfriend. Thank you for tuning in.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Well, whoever's listening, welcome to the Horror Corner.
welcome.
I'm Cody.
And maybe they can't hear us because we're in a corner. Maybe we need to come out into the light.
We just need to project.
Yeah.
We can stay where we are. We just need to project.
Okay. Speaking of that, I need to turn your volume down because I just remembered that. Anyways, I'm Elle. Sorry, I really took your train of thought.
It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. How are you? Has anything exciting happened since Saturday?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. How about you?
I turned in a really big application for that public health program at UW, and that was very good, very satisfying. I got a 9 out of 17 on the assessment, which sucks. But I also don't know if it's like the SATs where they totally like curve your score and stuff. So I don't know how that's supposed to work. But it is in. I am free from that. And I just freaked out because I clicked on a malware link. But then I called my dad, and it's okay. So my computer
That's
probably
good.
isn't gonna explode during our session here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, cool. We both have stories this week. As we
do. And I
week.
tried to research one last night and get ahead on things instead of researching this morning.
Yeah.
Like I do most of these episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out that the case I was going down a huge, 4-hour rabbit hole on wasn't the one I wanted to talk about today because they were innocent and they got off, and which was good because they were innocent. But it wasn't not really the direction I wanted to go today.
Yeah.
So.
Wait, so did it happen overnight, or were they just innocent the whole time, but you didn't?
They were innocent the whole time, and I didn't put two and two together.
Oh, okay.
Reading all the material.
I'm like, that would be wild if, just this morning, they're like, and she's innocent, and then you're like, oh no. Well, actually good, and also holding space for your story being destroyed. Anyways, I'm excited for the story that you have right now.
Yes, the story that we have right now. It's not going to be as lighthearted as the previous one.
Okay. Mine isn't either. Ooh.
Yeah.
We might have a dark episode.
We just took 2020 to heart and just turned a dark corner.
Yeah. Sad.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Well,
okay. Well, this is what we got.
Let's rip the Band-Aid off, get in our time machine, and go.
Okay.
So we're going to go in our time machine, and we're going to go back to 1979. I don't know how many years that is. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to go to October 22nd, 1979.
Okay.
When a 24-year-old woman named Susan Schwarz was shot in her own home in Linwood, Washington.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is kind of nearby to us, as we are Seattle-based.
Yeah, I have heard her name before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's actually, I have some sources from, the Kirkland Reporter, the Herald Net. And the thing about the Herald Net, I don't know where they're based, but a lot of their locations, they say that it took place in Everett, and then Linwood, and then Edmonds. It was this whole thing. They kept changing the location. I'm like, I hope that they know that all these places are different.
Yeah.
They're close enough that, sure, you can just kind of, in that neighborhood. But, they're not the same.
Yeah.
And later on, they say that, in a Seattle home, And I'm just like, okay, maybe they moved there because it's been a while, but still, like, not the same place.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Like, North Seattle is more of like a region than a neighborhood. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, so she was shot in her own home in Linwood, possibly somewhere nearby Linwood.
That is so close to where I live, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay. Yeah. So she was found around 4 p.m. with her hands tied behind her back and a bullet wound in the back of her head. And there were some things missing from the house, which initially led the police to believe that she was murdered in the middle of a burglary.
Okay.
Her younger brother, Gary, recalls driving past her house at the time of, like, around the time of that her body was found and seeing cars in the driveway, but he had no idea that they were there as police detectives investigating the scene after the body was found.
Oh, yikes. Okay.
The day after he drove past her house, their dad came to his door and told him the bad news. So more than 20 years pass, and the police still cannot find who was responsible for her murder. And Gary is quoted on the Herald-Net saying, quote, "What do you do with yourself when a part of you is gone? What do you do?"
Oh, baby.
Yeah, so it's real sad. And her father, Henry says in one article from the Kirkland Reporter in 2011 that the only way he has been able to cope is by forgetting the day that it happened. Quote, "I buried it so deep now it is just words." Just, they don't have any closure. They don't know. Yeah. Like, they don't know who did it. They have no leads. They're just, the police can't catch a break in the case.
Was it like cold from the beginning, or did they have stuff at first?
They had, well, we'll get into it, but they had one suspect that stood out from all the others, but they couldn't. They didn't have enough evidence to get him on it. So the Sonoma County Sheriff's Office finally caught a break when a prison inmate came forward with a tip about the case. The tip led them back to a former girlfriend of the person they suspected and gave investigators details of the crime scene and house that hadn't been released before and matched the case. So when the case first broke, the police questioned this boyfriend of hers, her boyfriend at the time, Gregory Dwayne Johnson, and he claimed he was fishing in Everett or Edmonds, I'm not sure which, on October 22nd, but his alibi was never fully confirmed and he remained a suspect. He just remained a suspect.
Yeah.
They couldn't go any further on it. In 1986, they questioned him again, and he told detectives that he dropped off his brother and 2 other men outside of Susan's house to rob it the day that she was killed. And then he also implicated that his brother was involved in her death.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Wait, so this is the boyfriend then who's saying this, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's saying that his brother did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds likely. Okay.
Well, the thing is, brother's also been in and out of jail for robbery and other things, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, his brothers, both him and his brother, I should say, have been in and out of jail for robbery, drugs, and other, like, violent crimes.
Okay, so there's a history there.
Not entirely impossible.
Yeah.
Finally, after more than 30 years after her murder, the police have enough evidence to arrest Gregory and charge him for the murder of Susan.
Okay.
The former girlfriend that I told you about that the tip led them... Oh, sorry, hit my microphone. That the tip led them back to, told detectives that she acted as a lookout when Gregory broke into houses.
Okay.
And that he told her they were just going to the house of a person who owed him money. So I don't think that she knew that this was Susan's house. I don't think she knew who Susan was.
Yikes.
So yeah, this was just a house that they were going to break into. And she would keep a lookout as usual. She said that Gregory grabbed a woman out of the shower and pistol whipped her, wrestling her to the ground and tying her up while she was begging for her life.
What the fuck? Now, what does pistol whip mean?
I meant to look that up before we started.
Oh, God.
Yeah, right now.
Okay. It doesn't sound good, whatever it is.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is basically what I thought it was.
Okay.
The act of using a handgun as a blunt weapon, wielding it as if it was a club or baton.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also what I kind of thought, but
yeah.
Okay.
Let's see here. Where is my... Yeah, here we are. After Susan was bound, Gregory shot her in the head, and then he noticed his girlfriend standing witness. He shot Susan again and asked her to check if Susan had a pulse, then told her to go back into the car while he cleaned up.
I'm just looking at my Susan, and she's sleeping on her pillow, and she doesn't even know what's happening.
Yeah, I know. I
my
got through the story.
Baby.
I was like, wait.
Oh. She's so oblivious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I would kill
Luckily, it was
any
not your
man
Susan
who tried to do that to her. Or anyone, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. Okay. I'll try to...
Shall I keep going?
Yes. Sorry.
Unfortunately, must keep pushing on.
Okay.
The girlfriend, who was 18 at the time, and Gregory was 26, also reported that he beat her and she was afraid to leave him. Mm-hmm. So that's more evidence of his like violent tendencies. He also had a lot of priors for drugs and burglary. She's still scared of Gregory, who said he would hurt her if she went to the police. He would hurt her family. And throughout the case, she was never treated as a suspect, even after she came forward with all this information.
Wait, so you said that she wasn't treated as a suspect, or he wasn't?
She was never.
Okay, got it.
Because I don't think they knew that she was ever in the house.
Okay.
So that's the thing. She came forward and she was like, I was actually in the house and I know what happened.
Oh, okay.
When he was arrested in April 2011, finally, Gregory reiterated his story about the break-in from 1986, and then finally admitted to killing Susan on October 22nd, 1979. Mm-hmm. So he was 26 at the time of the murder, but he was 58 at the time of arrest. He was convicted in 2012 and sentenced to 24 years in prison.
Dang. Okay. So then, was his brother ever implicated too? Or were they both put in jail?
I don't know anything about his brother.
Okay.
I assume he was also in prison at some point.
Okay.
During this, so I don't think it matters really. He's already in prison.
Okay.
Get him. So.
Okay, I thought he might also. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So actually, before this, Gregory was in prison from I think it's 1985 to the year 2000. So he's been in prison for a really long time before. So this isn't going to be anything new for him.
Okay, got it. And what was he in there for prior?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only 2 or 3 articles that I could find on this.
Okay.
Or 2 or 3 different newspapers that I could find on this. Mm-hmm. And I actually found her grave memorial because it's on the grave memorial finding site. Mm-hmm. And then Herald Net is a huge one because the same person wrote 4 different articles about this.
Oh wow! Okay.
Both before and after his arrest, and solving it. So,
got it.
It seems like they were following this case for a while, and part of what helped this case come to a close, and for them to finally take it off the cold case list, were the cold case playing cards.
Okay.
Which have you heard of those before?
They're basically Pokemon cards, right? But cold case cards? No? Oh, okay.
So they're the standard 52 card deck, right?
Yeah.
Each one has the face, and then on the back of it has instead of the design or whatever, it has the information of the case.
Oh.
So on the face side of the card, there's usually a picture of the victim of a murder or a missing persons case.
Oh, whoa. That's so cool.
Yeah. So there's actually several counties in the United States. I don't know about the rest of the world, but in the country, that pass out these decks of playing cards to inmates in the hopes that some of them will come forward with information about some of these cold cases.
Okay.
So Sonoma County produced this particular deck in 2008, and one of the inmates gave the investigators a tip about Gregory's ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
Because they saw Susan's picture and case info on the Queen of Hearts in the deck.
Okay. Interesting. That's cool.
The police hope that passing around these cards to inmates will help them solve more cold cases like Susan's. And a little bit of a fun tidbit of information is that apparently inmates call these things snitch cards because they like rat out other people who have probably like told them in confidence details about cases that they've never been caught for, right?
Yeah.
Like crimes that they've never been caught for, and it's just like snitch.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah.
So that's just a little silver lining there.
That's so cool though.
And cards are actually helping people get closure to some cases that they thought were never solvable.
Yeah. It reminds me of those do you ever get like the QFC coupon clipping books?
Yes.
And they have like a missing person's info on the bottom of the page sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that, but extremely more effective, it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get 3 copies.
Takes one to know one. You know, if you ask a criminal about another criminal, they can probably...
Yeah, for sure.
I wonder how many criminals become, like, criminal profilers, now that I think about it.
Huh.
That'd be interesting to know.
Yeah, it would be.
But yeah, you can look up her playing card.
Cool.
You can see her picture.
Nice.
It's really funny because the card lists her as 26, but if you do the math, she was born in 1955.
Oh.
And she went missing, or like she was found murdered in 1979. That doesn't add up. I don't know why they said she was 26 on the card.
Oh, yeah. Huh. Yeah, I don't know math, but that does not seem right.
I know that 5 plus 4 is 9, for sure.
Okay.
So it has ended in a 4.
Nice. Okay. Are the playing cards, like, can you buy them, or is it, like,
I don't think they're, like, readily available to the public, but I'm sure if you look hard enough, you can probably find them.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's pretty much it. Gregory was sentenced to 24 years in prison. Not nearly long enough, in my opinion, but, you know, what can you do? He's at least convicted and sentenced to prison, so that's at least something. He was originally set for $1 million in bail.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the way you say that. But during the hearing, it actually was increased to $5 million. So they really don't want this guy to get out.
Yeah.
And
good.
Her dad, when he heard about the arrest, he was like, well, I mean, my closure took place 25 years ago. Is the quote from the Kirkland Reporter. And, you know, like, I guess he's moved on, and really he's concerned about his son, Gary, who is still really torn up about it, and they were, like, really good friends, and they were just really close siblings.
Yeah.
So, but Susan's father says that, like, he just hopes that he stays in contact with his son, and that's really all they can do.
Yeah, for sure. Dang. When is he out on parole for? Or is it like 26 years you said, and then he's just out?
25.
25.
Or 24. 24. Because they were trying to get the minimum 25 years to life.
Okay, got it.
But they were only able to get 24.
Dang.
So after that, I guess he's out on parole or something. So
cool.
And I haven't seen any information about like an appeal or anything. So Crossing your fingers he stays there
Yeah.
for 24 years.
Jesus. Ugh.
And that Gary can find some peace.
Yeah. Poor Gary. Well, that was a goodie and a downer. And a goodie.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that I have heard of Susan Schwarz, but I don't think wait, Schwartz or Schwartz?
Schwartz.
Schwartz.
SCHRA.
Schwartz. Okay.
No, wait.
Okay. I think
SCH. I can't spell things.
oh, no.
SCHWARZ.
Okay.
Schwarz.
I got it. Yeah. I thought that I recognized her name, but I don't think that I've ever heard the full story before. Thank
I know,
you.
I was actually kind of surprised that there wasn't more information on this.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember where I heard her name either.
Yeah. It maybe it's that it sounds similar to other names like Elizabeth Schwartz and stuff like that, you know. Or
Yeah,
like
maybe.
other names, I know. I was thinking
I don't know, that still doesn't help me figure out where I first heard it.
Yeah, no, I know. I was thinking though that when we get famous, we should have that journalist on who wrote the 4 articles about the case to like tell us all the dirty details.
Yeah, because I'm really curious to know, like, her facts change constantly, like, across articles.
Oh, huh.
Like, they're not really consistent, which is why, like, I had a hard time kind of putting together, like, a cohesive train of thought during the story. Like, taking down notes and everything, because a lot of her articles, like I said, like, changed the name of the place, changed the, like, information, as far as, like, what Gregory confessed.
Okay.
She, like, added things in later articles, and I don't know, because also, like, I think part of it was, the first one that I found was when, the former ex-girlfriend came forward, and Gregory was first arrested. Okay. And it was, like, not very well written, honestly, just to be completely honest, not very well written.
Yeah.
Failed to mention that the ex-girlfriend wanted to remain nameless until, like, halfway through their article, and I was very confused, like, who is she? Like, I don't understand. Who are we talking about? Yeah. And it's like, you're talking about, like, the 18-year-old, and I was like, Susan was 24. What is happening? Oh, God. And so this former ex-girlfriend asked to remain unnamed. Only her initials are in the, like, court documents. So I feel like this writer for the Herald, was able to see some of these court documents, and finally get, like, the details from the case, like the solid facts from the case in her, like, final article. But the previous ones are kind of all over the place in terms of consistency. So
yeah. Okay. Cool.
It'd be really interesting to, like, hear kind of the progression of her finding out more about this. About this case. Like, probably.
Okay, cool. Because I, like, thought that she was, like, one of the only people who were, like, bothering to write on it, but I guess she just had a lot of changing information that came in over time, and that's why, probably. But yeah.
Right, so. Yeah, that, and, you know, maybe she was, because there's other guy from the Kirkland Reporter. He only reported it after Gregory was arrested. Oh, okay. And his article is really succinct. Nice. And a little bit more well written, because I think he had all the facts leading up to this. Okay. Already, like what do you call it? Collected and put together and laid out in front of them, versus, like, she was putting it together as the story developed.
Yeah. I got you.
So
that makes sense. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my story.
Yay, thank you for telling a probably shouldn't say beautiful story, because it's not a beautiful story, but you told it beautifully. How's that? Oh, God.
I do my best.
Yeah.
I do my best.
Okay. Should we
All
take
right.
a
Do we have any
commercial
information to get through before your story?
any information. Just still thinking about content warning stuff. I know that we talk about like sexual assault and stuff more in the true crime side of things, but it is going to appear as a topic in my story. So just wondering if you want to include like a warning for listeners about that, Cody. Should be, or yeah, I guess is what you just said good, or
Yeah.
okay.
I thought you were just gonna go into the content warning. That works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So today, have you? Wait, I'm sorry. Let me start over.
Okay.
Have you heard of the movie Entity, Cody?
No.
Okay, well, shoot, then that kind of ruins my intro. But anyways, Entity is a horror movie based on a true story. And I have not seen the movie because I realized that it was based off the story too late. But I've read reviews and a lot of articles like comparing it to the true story that was based on. So we're gonna talk about the true story that the movie was based on. And it's called the Doris Bither case. Do you know if you pronounce that last name like Bither or Bither?
I have no idea. I've never heard of this. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, well, I'll just call her like Doris then.
Okay.
For the whole thing. So yeah. So it's like a pretty big paranormal case in the US just because of its nature, and it actually tends towards more of the side of like a poltergeist story versus a simple ghost story for reasons that we will discover. But Doris Bither was a single mother of 4, and she lived in Culver City, California, when she started experiencing extreme physical attacks by a group of ghosts, and this was in 1974. So not too far away from what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a serious case right off the bat because you don't usually think of extreme physical attacks when you think of an average haunted house story. Like, usually haunted houses are more like the cabinet doors open by themselves, or I heard footsteps in the attic. But that's not really the case for this one. Her sons also witnessed a lot of the phenomenon and experienced scratching and biting, but the spirits seemed to hate Doris specifically. Doris said that the spirits in her house were raping her repeatedly. And that's kind of the extreme kicker and the unusual aspect of this case. So Doris says that the attacks have been going on for years, to the point where she has major scars on her legs and thighs. She said that the attacks occurred almost nightly. Her youngest son said in an interview that he could hear and see what was happening because his bedroom was next door to hers. So the way he said, or the way he explained what it was like, was that it was what you think of when you think of someone being beaten, quote, but there was no one there actually doing it. So it's like his mom is moving and like being beaten, but then you can't see the person that's actually doing it, but it looks exactly like as if someone were doing it, you know? Yeah. So very not good, beyond creepy. Doris's sons got so used to the ghosts that they called the most active one Mr. Who's It. Which I just think is the creepiest name ever. Mr. Who's It.
As opposed to Mr. What's It?
Wait, yeah. And Mr. Who's It. Yeah.
And Mr. What's It?
It's like a Mr. What's It, but they call it Mr. Who's It. Or
yes.
Am I wrong? Did they call it Mr. What's It?
Oh, no.
Okay. And that's just like the way that the phrase is usually said. Okay. Got it. Yeah, but so all of this is going on, and then enter male paranormal investigators. Doris tried.
Okay.
Yeah, Doris decided to call research assistants Barry Taff and Carrie Gaynor at the former UCLA's Paranormal Research Lab, which I just think is a little bit of light in the story that UCLA had a paranormal research lab as an offshoot of their neuropsychology lab.
Yep.
Isn't that wild? Yeah. But so Doris was serendipitously at the bookstore at the same time that these two researchers were. She overheard them talking about what they were researching. And she went up to them and she's like, "Stuff's going on in my house. Can you please come research my house?" And they agreed to come over. But when they arrived, they noticed that the house was a mess. It had been condemned twice before, and that Doris and her sons didn't get along well. They also learned that she had a history with alcoholism and an abusive childhood, and just a lot of trauma and mental illness. So as soon as they saw that her house was a mess and that she didn't get along with her sons and that she had this history, they pretty much just wrote her off and sent her to a psychiatrist instead. Which
great.
Yeah, it's
that's fine.
It's not great to just dismiss someone, and at the same time I'm like, okay, you want to make sure that someone gets psychiatric help, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They tried. They did their best.
Yeah, they did their best. So they didn't believe her claims that she was being raped because she seemed I don't know, hysterical and etc. And yeah, so that wasn't great. But then a few weeks later, I don't know if Doris actually went to see the psychiatrist or not, but she called them again to come over because now other people, like her neighbors, were seeing activity through the windows.
Ooh.
And they could vouch for her.
No, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's not good. So this was her list of claims. Candelabras were thrown at her. A fuse box was ripped out of the wall and flew through the air towards Doris. Doris said that she was attacked repeatedly by entities from mild assaults to full-on... Well, okay. I should say that I am quoting, what was it? This article from Paranormal I Love to Know by Karen Fraser, who uses some wording that I'm not super fond of, and I can explain later. But so basically Doris said that she was being raped by the entities. And then, who was it? Karen phrases it as, quote, from mild assaults to full-on rapes. And I don't like that wording.
No.
Yeah, we'll
That's
talk
not... Oh.
What?
It makes me so uncomfortable.
I know, yeah. So, we'll talk about some of a lot of the sexism that went into this case after this.
Okay.
But yeah, so, and also, Doris's teenage son witnessed Doris being attacked by the unseen entity. When the son went to aid Doris during the attack, something unseen flung him back with great force. During the investigation, Doris claimed she witnessed poster boards the researchers had put up with duct tape being torn off the walls by unseen hands. The children also... Oh, wait. We already went into the Mr. Hughes's. Okay, this one is actually kind of, amusing. But the oldest son reported that activity intensified when he played the music by Black Sabbath. So, like, kind of, like, classic, like, heavy metal makes demons come to the earth. Which I just think is... It seems like something a boomer would say, but hey, if that actually happened, okay, cool.
Right.
I mean, not cool,
like,
but...
I guess?
Yeah. Doris also had bruises on her legs and inner thighs from the attacks. Ooh. The children also experienced encounters with entities who bumped into them in the hallways and even slapped them. Also of note is that there's like a lot of detail about the physical evidence on Doris's body that I just chose to omit because it was really not necessary and kind of, I don't know, insensitive to go into that much detail and publicize it, I thought. But that is...
so I have a question. Sorry.
Yeah.
So this was happening to their mom, but did it also start happening to the kids?
So...
Did I miss this?
So...
I probably did.
Just the mom was being raped, but the kids were being like bumped into and slapped, but not like sexually assaulted.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are what I just read was the list of claims that that Doris said had happened, and then I have another list from the same article about what was actually like recorded and found. So a kitchen cupboard slammed open and a skillet flew out of the cupboard as if thrown. The researchers witnessed bright greenish-yellow balls of light they called corpuscular... Yeah, that's so wrong. Anyways, balls of light flying around the bedroom. A few times they were able to photograph the orbs, although many attempts at photography were unsuccessful. They photographed Doris sitting on her bed with a light that was formed directly up over her head. At one point, the lights in the bedroom came together and formed the upper torso of a man appearing near Doris and moving as a human would move. At the time, there were about 24 people in the room who all witnessed the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I think I remember this one now. Is this the one? No, just get through it.
Okay.
Finish the story, and I'll tell you if this is the one that I'm thinking about.
Okay. The research team brought in Geiger counters to measure radiation. I was going to look that up, but I forgot, and it's just a thing to measure radiation, I guess. When no activity was happening, the counters showed normal levels of background radiation. When the activity was occurring, there weren't even any measurable background radiation that registered. So it's like there was less radiation when the activity was happening, which is weird. Dr. Taff observed that Doris was a heavy drinker. However, when she stopped drinking, the phenomena also stopped. And this is not my words, this is someone else's. They noticed...
Very interesting, actually.
What?
That's very interesting.
Yeah. They noticed that the activity was always at its most intense when Doris was in the house. Yeah.
So this ghost was like, fuck you in particular.
Yeah. They just really did not like Doris. Which is sad. Yeah, not great. Okay, so that's like the case, and now I would like to get into some theories that people have proposed. Like, again, sexism did play a large part in how this case was perceived. Like, imagine that you're a woman in the 70s and we can't even, like, believe sexual assault survivors in 2020. But, like, definitely not in 1974. Especially not if someone is like, it's a ghost raping me. Like, just imagine, like, the amount of disbelief that Doris probably got when she was like, no, like, this is really my experience. So I just, like, really feel that. And I am like, oh my God, that's so horrible. Like, God. Yeah. And, like, a lot of what I read was kind of, I don't know, like, it's very, like, very detailed wording qualms that I have, but, like, when I was reading that a list of claims from that research, or sorry, from the article that the Medium wrote, she would say things like Doris claimed that she was attacked repeatedly, but then she would say, like, her teenage son witnessed. So it's like the teenage son was given more of, like, a, I don't know, more credibility, yeah. So, like, and then it says her teenage son witnessed, and then a few bullet points later it says Doris claimed that she witnessed. So just, like, that kind of language stuff is very revealing, I think. And then I was reading some of the actual, like, reports from who are they, like, Taff and his partner. I guess they're still alive, and there was an updated report, and their report was just like, we don't think that Doris was being sexually assaulted by demons. We think that she was projecting her own past onto herself. And just shit like that.
Okay.
But anyways, so I wrote down...
she's experiencing something.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's, like, giving her any sort of...
Any help. I know, yeah. So, you probably know this about me by now, but I'm, like, pretty skeptical about things, and more like to think about them in, I don't know, like, the context of folklore versus, like, this actually happened. But I'm gonna choose to just believe Doris that everything that she says happened actually happened, because not believing her didn't help anything when she was alive. And she died in, like, she died in the late 90s. And
from something that happened to her involving demons, or? And
no. Well, I'll get into, like, into the last contact that we have from her. But, like, supposedly it kept happening her whole life. And then actually, I think one article said that she died of a heart attack in 1999.
That could be demon-induced, for sure.
Yeah, God, it could be. Yeah. Okay, but I have a list of theories here. So, theory 1, and then I'm going to go through, like, the strengths and weaknesses of each theory. So the first theory is that Doris's history of untreated alcoholism, trauma, and mental illness led to vivid hallucinations and seeing and feeling things that weren't there. And I'm like, okay, like, it's not unheard of for people with untreated hallucinatory disorders to, like, think that they see demons around them. But then at the same time, like, there were physical scarrings and bruising, and also outside witnesses. And this theory just kind of really sounds like the basic kind of cop-out that a lot of people use that didn't want to believe her when it was actually happening. So I don't really give it much... Like, I'm sure that it is a very rational explanation, but I feel like it's just a lot of people's go-to automatically. And I don't think...
Right.
Yeah. Another interesting theory that came up was sleep paralysis. maybe Doris was just having sleep paralysis every night, and the dreams were like about someone sexually assaulting her. I actually have sleep paralysis myself, like multiple times a week. I'd say
What?
more nights than not. I have sleep paralysis.
No way.
Yeah, it's
This
wild.
is wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I can like definitely vouch for this theory that that someone having sleep paralysis might literally think that someone is raping them. Because just from my experience of it, I'm like, oh yeah, I can totally see that. And especially if you don't know what sleep paralysis is.
I don't need to know. I mean, I know what it is, but I don't need the description because I would love to not experience it myself. Thank you.
Oh yeah. No, I'm like not gonna go into it. I'm just like, if you don't know what it is, then I can see someone taking it at like face value.
Yeah.
And thinking that it is real. Me
and my roommate were literally just talking about this the other day. Like, there's the theory that like if you've experienced it before and you describe it to somebody else, they will then experience it. So I'm holding that theory in mind, and please do not describe it to me.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. That's where I'm coming from. Now that I know you have it, please don't tell me.
Okay, yeah, I will totally keep it.
I'm
keep
sorry
it
that
under
you
wraps.
experienced that.
No, it's okay.
I don't want it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I would not want you to have it. Do you want me to keep talking about this theory? Because I was going to go over some weaknesses about how it's probably not sleep paralysis.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you can talk about it, but I don't want to hear your personal experience.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to be hearing like other people's experiences. It's just like the person who experienced it, I cannot hear their experiences.
Got it.
I'm okay with hearing other people's experiences.
Okay.
Through the mouth of or lens of somebody else.
Cool. Okay.
Just the closer I am to the person who experiences it, it like, freaks me the heck out.
No, I mean that totally makes sense. I feel it.
Then I'm gonna like actually experience it. I don't want it.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean, I've like gotten so used to it at this point that I don't even recognize it. But yeah, no.
That's terrifying, though. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so anyways, some weaknesses that I've thought of about this theory is that during sleep paralysis, like the body is paralyzed. So if her sons were seeing her like up and moving around, or like shaking and moving with like punches and stuff, then it couldn't be sleep paralysis. Because she wouldn't be moving around. It would just be, So that didn't really make sense to me. And then there's the poltergeist theory, which I've already bought into because I started the story by calling it a poltergeist theory. And basically a poltergeist is just like I called it a more than ghost that can physically and violently affect surroundings.
Yes.
And then there's the negative energy theory, or in other words, like that you can mentally manifest your own negative energy and then project it out into the physical realm. And then that's how ghosts are created. And I find that like fascinating.
More like a projection than a ghost, though.
What?
That's more like a astral projection than like a ghost, per se.
Yeah.
Unless you believe that ghosts are just astral projections. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. But it's a theory that like ghosts and paranormal stuff is all just stuff that humans have created for ourselves that we don't really know how to control or how it works, but it comes from us somehow. I don't know.
Like
I find
a living memory?
Yeah. Kind of like living memory, except spooky.
Okay.
Very spooky. So the strengths that I found in this theory is that, like, Doris did have a lot of trauma and negative patterns of behavior. Like, her house was so dirty that it was about or or threatened to be, what was it? Not foreclosed, but like torn down like multiple times. She and her
Really?
sons fought all the time. She was addicted to alcohol. She was like very afraid of everything that was happening. So that's one theory. But a problem that I have is that like a lot of people just stop there and say that it was Doris's problems.
Mm.
But it's like, so did all of the people around her who were coming in.
Yeah.
Like they also projected their own negative energy. So like if the theory is true that everyone projects their own ghosts into the physical realm, then what about all the people, especially like the men, like who were there investigating and researching, like writing her off as a hysterical woman and telling that her experience of rape, like whatever it was, wasn't real. Like that puts out a lot of negative energy and can create, if like she can create it from her own past, then they can create it through those through that energy.
Yeah, it's almost like they're coming in and making it worse for her because they're projecting their negative energy as well.
Exactly.
Like they're just adding to it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
And something that I think that makes this theory strong is that one of her sons reported that activity actually got worse when the paranormal crews came and left.
Right.
And so maybe the projection of all that doubt and sexism on top of what Doris was actually going through is part of what made it so much worse.
Yeah.
Also, so where Doris ended up is she moved once within California, I think, but then a few years later she suddenly like moved her whole family to Texas without telling any of the paranormal investigators that she was leaving or where she was going. And like,
on one hand, I feel like that's smart.
Yeah, I know.
It's like a base for.
Yeah.
Are they really making it worse? Are they helping? What are they doing?
Yeah.
Is it the house? Is it her?
Yeah. So, also, I think that if they were making it worse, that would explain why she left without telling them and without like keeping in contact with them.
Exactly.
What I got from it all was that she continued to experience it for the rest of her life, but did kind of like ease away with time. I'm pretty sure that was an article where like her sons were talking about it. But yeah, so that's what we know about it. And most of the sources that I read were like very heavily like, I don't know, like sexist and trying to like rationalize her like experiences away. But there was this one article on Graveyard Shift that had this quote that I would love to read to you.
Okay. Lay it on me.
Okay, it says, quote, "One must assume that whatever type of energy creates a spirit is capable of holding the same disgusting, vile sentiments that rapists have. Putting any logic into this kind of visceral, demeaning assault is a tantamount to banging your head against a wall. Plenty of researchers have formed theories as to why Bither was attacked, but unfortunately they all place the blame squarely on her shoulders. It's an awful logic leap in a scenario with no logic." And I just like really appreciated that. That's written,
a really good quote.
Yeah, that was written by someone named Jacob Shelton on Graveyard Shift. I was like, dang, like, I've been on a Graveyard Shift before, and it just kind of seems like a very, like, poppy, like, listicle type of, like, medium. But this article was so thoughtful, and I just appreciated it a lot because that was very good. Hey, maybe I will share the article on our Instagram, which we need to get back into, or I need to get back into now
I was
that
gonna say,
we're
that's
on the
not me.
on the regular.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the story of Doris Bither. If I'm mispronouncing her name, I'm very sorry to everyone, especially Doris Bither.
So, I said I would get to which story I thought this was. Is this the one where like there's the pictures of the like night vision with like all the orbs? And she's like in the room and they like put all the stuff on the walls. so that the scratches will show up on camera?
I mean, it sounds like it could be.
It's like a picture of her on the bed with like the paranormal investigators.
Oh yeah, I see
There's, like,
it
a
now.
weird arc.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep, that was her.
Oh, I remember. Okay, yeah, the Entity, and then the Entity movie. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's all not great. I find the whole context around it as disturbing as the actual paranormal stuff.
Yeah.
It feels, yeah, too close to reality. I feel like in terms of how like sexual assault survivors are treated, but
yeah.
Anyways, all right, gang. Are we good? Do we have any other announcements?
Are we okay?
Are you okay?
I'm okay.
Okay.
All right.
I
don't have anything else to say, really.
Oh, have I told you about how before I went home for Christmas, I tried for like almost a whole day to get her to jump into the bathtub so that I could give her a bath?
You did not tell me this.
Okay, well, it was wild. So my goal was to put treats in the bathtub and then she would jump over and do it. But the thing is that she knows that the bathtub means water and she hates it.
Oh.
So, but I also physically cannot lift her over the edge of the bathtub. So I have to try to get her to jump in herself. But it's like if I'm in there and like waiting for her to do it, she knows that as soon as she jumps in, I'm gonna like pounce on her.
Bring water.
Yeah. So it's like I have to pretend that I'm not listening or watching while she like tries to scramble into the tub to get her treats and out in the same amount of time. Or she tries to get the treats before I can realize that she jumped in and then turn on the water. And it's just so frustrating. It did not succeed. And she's still not bathed and she's very smelly. But she's a very pretty lady. But yeah, watching her get into the bathtub is so funny because she just falls head first. She goes all the way in. She will die for some lamb lung, honestly. Anyways.
Sorry.
No,
I opened Twitter to try to find a dog story, and then you told a dog story, and I got very distracted by dogs on Twitter.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I heard your story.
Okay, cool.
It's a funny story.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just imagining Susan falling headfirst into a bathtub, and it's good.
It's great, yeah. Like, her little legs are, like, caught over the side of the bathtub.
Have you considered maybe, like, getting, like, a ramp or something?
Yeah, I tried to put, like, a step stool outside of it, but...
Then she knows you're directly leading her to the bathtub.
Exactly. What I need is, like, a door in the side of my bathtub, like they have on those infomercials for, like, for older people. Like, you can just walk straight in. I need that for her, so that I can, like, drag her in. But I don't know if I could ever, like... I've
never seen that.
What?
Really? I've never seen that.
Like, the walk-in bathtubs?
No.
Really? Oh my gosh. Wow. I'll have to send you some pics. Yeah, I need... Maybe a ramp would work, but I don't know if I could drag her uphill, though. If she's fighting against everything.
If you push her. If she gets up high enough to, like, the point where you can, like, push her, maybe.
Push her in. But then she'll just jump off because I don't have two hands, so I can't, keep like, one on it. Although I could.
You gotta, like, put her arm around, like a scoop.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking I could put my knees, like, on one side and then just loop my other arm around and just, like, push her in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was picturing initially, and then...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Susan. Or you could just jump in and be a good girl. No. Never.
There's that.
Yeah.
Make everything a little bit easier for everyone here.
Yeah. I think next time Hollis comes over, when they leave, I'll just have them plop her in the bathtub for me.
Yeah.
I don't care what time it is. I don't care how high I am. We're gonna get that bath done.
Yeah. All right then. Okay, we're still very sleepy, very tired.
Yeah.
And now we just feel worse because things happened to people.
Yeah, but oh god.
It's okay. Okay, that story's supposed to make us feel happier. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, let me stretch. Get all that gross stuff out. Okay. Negative feelings away. Mm-hmm. Don't project them onto people, though.
I mean, you can project them onto, like, your therapist and stuff, but...
Sure. Well, I don't want my therapist to get, like, possessed or whatever.
I thought you meant just, like, negative feelings in general.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I'm like...
Yeah.
I mean, your therapist is probably equipped to deal with a possession if they have to, so...
I don't want to test that. All right.
I can ask my therapist when we meet on Friday, and I'll report back.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
That would be good.
Cool.
In the meantime, you can find us on Twitter at Horror Corner Pod, on Instagram at Horror Corner Podcast. You can subscribe to us on YouTube at Horror Corner Podcast. Hit that notification button so that you get notified every single Monday when we put out a new episode. Mm-hmm. You can leave us comments, reviews down there. You can also send comments and reviews and personal stories to horrorcornerpodcast@gmail.com. And that is it.
Patreon?
Patreon.com/horrorcornerpodcast.
Nice. Yeah, and that is it, I think. Yep. Okay, well, thanks so much for listening. We really appreciate it. And we will be back next week with more spooky stories. Hopefully maybe a little bit happier, but no promises. So, okay. Thanks for coming to our corner. I'm Elle.
I'm Cody.
And this is the Horror Corner Podcast. We'll see you next week.
We're leaving now.
Bye. Totally threw me off my game. I was so perfect.
I'm sorry.
No, I know. Okay, we're done.